The US is once again at a critical crossroads over aid to Ukraine. As the conflict intensifies, Congress faces a tense standoff of approving a new multi-billion-dollar aid packages. Today on Talkpoint, we unpack the political gridlock, what's on the table, and why the matters for the war and global security. Timeline graphics of Ukraine-Russia war, US military shipments, President Zelensky. The war in Ukraine has entered its fourth year, with Russia launching renewed offensives in the east and south. The US has been a major backer of Kyiv, providing billions in military, humanitarian, and economic aid to bolster Ukraine's defenses. So far, Washington has authorized more than $19 billion in support since 2022, including advanced weapon systems, ammunition, intelligence sharing, and financial aid. Congressional held hearings clips and packages summary graphics, military equipment shipments. The Biden administration is now pushing a $24 billion aid packages focused on replenishing Ukrainian stockpiles, providing cutting-edge missile system, and expanding humanitarian assistance. Key elements include additional HIMARS rocket launchers and artillery rounds, enhanced drone and counter-drone technology, financial support for displaced civilian and rebuilding infrastructure. Officials say the package is essential to maintaining Ukraine's battlefield momentum. US Capitol building, Senate and House chambers, lawmakers debating. But despite broad bipartisan support earlier in this year, where the new aid packages faces growing resistance in Congress. Some Republicans criticize the administration for what they call endless funding with little accountability or clear exit strategy. On the other side, many Democrats argue that dealing aid could jeopardize Ukraine's ability to repel Russian advances and US credibility with allies. This standoff has led to heated debates, delayed votes, and the risk of a government shutdown if the packages is not approved soon. Close-up of the key senators, President Biden speaking, party leaders. Key figures influencing the debate include Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has called for Speaker oversight on aid, and House Speaker who is pushing for a swift vote. President Biden has personally appealed to lawmakers, warning that cutting off aid would embolden Russia and undermine American leadership. Meanwhile, some moderate Republicans and swing state Democrats are balancing constituent concerns about domestic issues with strategic interest abroad. Ukrainian soldiers training, frontline combat footage, civilians in shelters. For Ukraine, the delay in US funding comes at a critical moment. Ukrainian commanders warn that without new shipments, their ability to defend key cities and launch counterattacks could be severely hampered. On the ground, the humanitarian situation is worsening, with millions displaced and infrastructure is in ruins. Aid delays risk prolonging the conflict and increasing casualties. NATO meetings, world leaders, international protest. The US Congressional emphasis also sends a signal to allies and adversaries worldwide. NATO partners watch closely as American aid is a linchpin of collective security. Russia views US delays as a potential weakness to exploit. Meanwhile, China's positioning on the conflict adds another layer of geopolitical complexity, making American resolve more critical than ever. Congressional calendar, aid shipment docs, Ukrainian government officials, the clock is ticking. Lawmakers must resolve their difference quickly to avoid a funding gap that could stall Ukraine's defense efforts. Look for possible compromise measures, increased oversight proposals, and diplomatic efforts behind the scene. The next votes in the House and the South Senate will be pivotal for both the war and US foreign policy. The US-Ukraine partnership is at a crossroad, and the decision made in Washington will reverberate for beyond Capitol Hill. For continuing coverage of this involving story, stay with Talkpoint. Please like, share, and subscribe for our next update.